The reason people betray you, Carl Jung. Betrayal comes from trusted people, not enemies. The friend who goes cold, the partner who leaves without explanation, the coworker who stabs you in the back. Worst part? It was unexpected. To understand why our closest friends can be our biggest disappointments, we're exploring betrayal's silent but sharp world. Why does this happen? How can friends become FOs overnight? Can signs be seen before damage is done? We'll examine betrayal's hidden mechanisms and how to avoid it without losing faith in human connection using ancient Stoic wisdom and modern psychology. This goes beyond discussion. This video will help you understand one of the most painful aspects of our social lives and empower you to view your relationships differently. If you like what we're talking about, subscribe for free. Watch the whole thing. Each piece of information may reveal human nature and your peace of mind. Let's begin. Betrayal's roots. Have you felt betrayed? The pain seems to come from nowhere, but cuts deeper than others. Imagine an old friend stops calling for no reason. Imagine a partner who suddenly turns cold and leaves, leaving silence and confusion. These betrayals involve our closest confidants, making them heartbreaking. In stories and movies, betrayal is dramatic, but in real life, it can be quieter, but just as devastating. This threat comes from our closest allies, not enemies. Psychology pioneer Carl Jung observed that larger fronts equal larger backs. This means that our deepest hurts often come from those we think we know best, behind their masks. This reflects Stoic awareness of life's unpredictability and the need for fortitude. Seneca taught that while we cannot control others' actions, we can control our reactions and remain unaffected by external events. This philosophy prepares us for betrayal and helps us stay calm. Betrayal challenges our understanding of human nature in many ways. It makes us question our opinions of others and our relationships. Are we seeing others as they are or as we want? This questioning promotes realism, a core tenet of Western philosophy and Stoicism, not cynicism. According to Jung, understanding the psychological underpinnings of betrayal helps us navigate human relationships. According to Jung's theory of the shadow, our darker, unacknowledged sides, betrayers often act out of unresolved inner conflicts. They may not fully understand their motives, driven by parts of themselves they haven't accepted. It's important to be vigilant and compassionate in relationships because each person we meet has a complex and potentially troubled inner world. This perspective doesn't just prevent harm. It deepens our empathy and preparedness by improving our understanding of human behavior. Let's learn how to spot betrayal and protect ourselves with wisdom and insight. Internal strife, betrayal. It's tempting to think people betray others for selfish or malicious reasons. However, beneath the surface, we often find psychological complexities and unresolved internal conflicts driving their actions. Carl Jung introduced us to the shadow self, where we store undesirable traits and impulses. These hidden aspects persist. They simmer beneath the surface, influencing behavior in ways the individual may not realize. This inner conflict is similar to Stoic inner turmoil, caused by not following reason and nature. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoics spoke of the inner citadel, a fortress of virtue and reason within each person. Instead of reconciling their internal contradictions, people let their shadow selves steer the ship, which can harm them and others. Consider a supportive friend who suddenly acts out of envy or insecurity, which may seem out of character. Perhaps this friend sees in you the accomplishments or qualities they want, but can't achieve. Thus, their betrayal may be a misguided expression of their unmet hopes and frustrations, not an attack on you. Jung may say they're projecting their shadow onto you, because it's easier to face these traits in others than themselves. Stoics see this scenario as an opportunity to avoid betrayal and develop compassion. Stoics advise us to look within and prepare our souls for life's challenges, including our closest allies' painful mistakes. Strong inner lives make us less vulnerable to others' actions, not because we build walls, but because we understand flaws that lead to such choices. We understand human behavior better by combining Jung's psychology with Stoic wisdom. This combination of understanding helps us recognize internal conflict and respond to it with empathy and strength in our relationships. Betrayal usually occurs in a series of subtle changes, not a sudden break. It's like watching a storm slowly bloom on the horizon, barely visible at first, but obvious upon closer inspection. Psychology and Stoic philosophy value awareness, which is needed to recognize these signs. Understanding betrayal requires observing seemingly harmless behaviors that develop a pattern that indicates deeper issues. The shadow self, developed by Carl Jung, is particularly useful. He suggested that suppressed parts of ourselves don't disappear. They express themselves destructively in other ways. Someone's behavior toward others may change if they feel threatened by repressed desires or unresolved issues. Initially subtle, then overt. Stoicism's emphasis on self-control and awareness teaches us to watch our own and others' emotions. If jealous or insecure, a friend may start with small, harmless jabs or jokes at your expense and escalate. Seneca advised us to observe our compatriots' behavior as well as their character. He said such vigilance helps us distinguish true friends from those with hidden resentment or ill will. Early warning signs vary and are complex. Maybe someone who shared freely becomes secretive or withdrawn. Maybe their tone changes when they talk to you. They seem colder and more formal, like they're building a wall between you. Behavioral cues matter. They indicate unresolved inner conflicts and often precede outright betrayal. Recognizing these signs doesn't make Stoics paranoid or defensive. Instead, it's about preparing to respond with calm and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius advised us to be aware of our associates' personalities because people act according to their nature. Anticipating betrayals allows us to avoid their worst effects without anger or resentment. Detecting betrayal improves our understanding of human nature and insight. We must balance trust with experience and be empathetic, but cautious in relationships. As we explore practical ways to mitigate and handle betrayal, remember that our goal is to strengthen our internal resilience so we can face any challenge with strength and dignity. Why betrayal hurts emotional investment. It's natural to wonder why betrayal hurts more than other injuries or disappointments. Because it destroys trust and expectations in relationships, betrayal hurts deeply. Betrayal is especially painful in relationships where we've invested a lot of emotional energy. Understanding why betrayal hurts requires emotional investment. We connect with friends, partners, and coworkers more than just spending time with them. We share our thoughts, feelings, and hopes. Carl Jung may say that we project parts of our psyche onto these relationships, seeing them as a reflection of ourselves and our ideals. When these relationships fail, we feel rejected or attacked. A Stoic perspective on emotional investment can illuminate this. Epictetus and other Stoics taught that while relationships are important, our emotional well-being should not depend on them. We can control some things, but others' actions and feelings are out of our control. We can maintain inner peace by mentally preparing for the possibility that even our closest friends may betray us. Accepting Stoic advice doesn't make us emotionally distant or cynical. It's about developing emotional resilience that allows us to care deeply for others while staying grounded in our rational and moral framework. This balance allows us to have deep relationships without being undone by them if they turn negative. Understand how emotional investment affects our reactions to betrayal to handle these painful experiences more gracefully. It reminds us that our pain is valid and shows our deep connection, not weakness. We can begin to heal by reassessing our emotional boundaries and expectations, possibly even gaining a stronger sense of self and a clearer understanding of what we value in relationships. To help us develop healthier, more resilient relationships, we'll use psychological insights and Stoic principles to anticipate and handle betrayals. This journey is about learning from our experiences and turning bitterness into wisdom about human nature and our emotional landscapes. Practical steps to prevent betrayal. Navigating the turbulent waters of human relationships requires a ready eye and heart. Knowing how to anticipate and mitigate betrayal is about developing a deeper understanding and resilience that enhances our relationships and protects our inner peace. Let's look at some ways to spot betrayal early and avoid its worst effects. First, awareness matters most. This means watching for subtle changes in people's behavior and attitudes toward us. Here, Carl Jung's shadow self-insights are invaluable. They show us that unresolved issues often manifest in actions, including betrayal. If someone usually shares openly, but becomes secretive or withdrawn, it may indicate internal conflict or a change in their feelings toward you. Marcus Aurelius advised Stoics to be vigilant in social interactions, listening to what others say and watching what they do. Stoicism teaches us to understand our associations and adjust our expectations. If we notice inconsistencies between someone's words and actions or a pattern of behavior that suggests hidden motives, we may need to reconsider our trust in them. Another step is setting and maintaining boundaries. Stoic principles empower here. Epictetus and other Stoics stress the importance of controlling our boundaries. By clearly defining acceptable and unacceptable interactions, we make it harder for others to disrupt our peace of mind. Boundaries test too. They can elicit reactions that reveal someone's true intentions, showing us who respects and opposes our limits. Communication matters too. Open and honest communication can prevent betrayals. Addressing a problem directly can clarify misunderstandings and show others that you are aware of the situation. This doesn't mean confronting every odd behavior, but choosing your battles and speaking up when something serious is happening. Finally, building support networks and diverse relationships can provide a safety net. Diversifying our emotional investments can reduce the impact of a bad relationship. Stoics encourage us to cherish and nurture relationships and keep a part of ourselves unaffected by external changes. This balance lets us enjoy deep relationships without relying on them for happiness and self-worth. These practices help us avoid betrayal and connect with others more deeply. Proactively shaping our relationship world with insight is key. Our ability to handle life's challenges, including betrayal, becomes one of our greatest strengths as we grow and learn. As we conclude our exploration of betrayal and its effects, remember that understanding its causes and effects empowers us and helps us avoid future pain. A deeper understanding of human nature and our strengths empowers us to navigate relationships with wisdom and resilience. Understanding empowers by showing that betrayal, though painful, teaches us about trust, human behavior, and our emotions. It makes us reconsider our values and expectations, sharpening our judgment. Carl Jung may encourage us to view betrayal as a complex interaction of individual psychologies that clash or fail to align. This perspective changes our reaction from hurt or betrayal to inquiry and growth. Stoic principles boost empowerment. Stoicism says our power comes from how we handle adversity. Marcus Aurelius advocated facing challenges calmly and using them to build virtue and character. When we apply this to betrayal, We learn to ground ourselves rather than be swayed by external events. This preserves our dignity and peace of mind regardless of others' actions. This understanding also encourages us to use our experiences to grow rather than be bitter. Each betrayal and trust break can lead to a more enlightened self who is more discerning, less reactive, and more at peace with human relationships. This does not mean becoming guarded or cynical, but rather maturely aware of the good and bad in all relationships. Empowerment also requires proactive living. Understanding betrayal empowers us to shape society. It teaches us to set boundaries, communicate openly, and build diverse relationships, which boosts emotional and social resilience. Thank you for visiting Stoic Journal. Watch one of the suggested videos on your screen if you're curious about what you've learned. Let's continue exploring Stoicism's wisdom and its relevance today.